Hi there. Today we're going to be doing lesson 2.4 on multiples. Math message today. Every week, Jabril earns $5 for doing his chores. How much will he have earned after 1 week? How about 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 4 weeks? 5 weeks? Is there a pattern at all? So see if you can work that out. Our vocabulary today is one word, multiple, which of course is what our lesson is about. And a multiple is the product of that number and another whole number. So when you hear the word product, you think multiplication, hopefully. And this hopefully will start to make sense once you see the next slide. So this lesson, we're going to learn that a whole number is a multiple of each of its factors. And one of the tools that we're going to use to help us is this multiplication chart that you see here in white. And I'm going to make that a little bit bigger on the next screen. All right, so here is our multiplication chart. And let's make sure that we understand how to use it before we get started. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger here. And if we look up here in this top left corner, we have an asterisk, a comma, and a slash, a forward slash. That asterisk is another symbol for a multiplication sign. And then the forward slash is a symbol for division. So as you've probably figured out, you can use this table not only with multiplication, but we can also use it with division. So how do we use it? Let's look at the number 2 here on the left. If I take this number 2, and let's say I'm going to multiply times 1, my answer is 2. So if I take the same 2, multiply times 2, my answer is 4. If I take 2 times 3, my answer is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. And as you can see, I can work my way across the chart, and we get all the way down here to my answer is 20, and of course that would be 2 times 10. So I can look at this chart and I can locate any multiplication fact, like let's say the 7 times 4. I follow that down here, actually here, sorry, and I end up on 28. Okay, so 7 times 4 is 28. Now, how does this work for multiples? Well, multiples are basically going through, let's say I want the multiples of 5, for example. I'm going to start with 5 here, and I'm going to add 5. So of course 5 plus 5 is going to give me 10. Then I'm going to add 5 to 10, which is going to give me 15. I add 5 to 15, which gives me 20. Add 5 to 20, which is going to give me 25. So the multiples of 5 would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. And of course we can keep on going and going and going, but our chart only goes to 10. So you have been taught to count by 5s, you've been taught to count by 10s. Little did you know that you were actually doing multiples. So even if we counted by 2s, you would still be doing multiples of 2. So if we started with 2, we gave the multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. These are all multiples. So that number is increasing by 2 each time. If I asked you to give me the multiples of 6, we're going to start with 6, and we're going to add 6 each time. So 6, 12, 18, 24, and so on. So this chart comes in pretty handy, but hopefully you won't need to use the chart for very long once you figure out the process. So let's look at factors of 16 and multiples of the factors of 16 and look at how are they related to one another. So if I list the factors of 16, and remember when we did our T-chart, a couple of lessons ago, and we looked at factors, and I had you make a T-chart, and so we would put 16 at the top, and we would list our factors. So 1 would be a factor, 2 would be a factor, 4 would be a factor, 8 would be a factor, and 16 would be a factor. When I look at the multiples of the factors, so if I wanted the multiples of 1, I would start with 1, and then of course I'm going to go all the way to 16. If I can fit them on here, which looks like I might have to go to the next line. Okay, so I'm going to circle 16 because we're trying to look at the relationship between factors and multiples, okay? And hopefully you'll see what's going on here in a minute. So let's look at 2. If we look at the multiples of 2, I'm going to have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. Okay, I'm going to do the multiples of 4. So we're going to have 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. We're going to stop there because we hit our 16. And then we're going to look at 8. So we start with 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Oh, boom, I'm done. Circle the 16, and then of course we're going to look at 16, and we're done. We're at 16. So when we look at the factors of 16, the multiples of those factors, notice that 16 is in each one of those multiples of the factors. Okay, so see that they're related. That's what I'm trying to show you. There is a relationship between factors and multiples. So to summarize what we've talked about today, we learned that factors and multiples are related, which I just showed you. We also learned that every number is a multiple of its factors. Okay, just another way of stating that. So we can use the chart that I showed you, the multiplication chart, to go through and find our multiples, or we can use multiplication to find our multiples. Have a nice day.